Welcome to the deep dive. Our goal here is simple. Cut through the noise on critical tech topics and give you the essential knowledge you need. Today we're diving into the state of cybersecurity for 2025. And look, this isn't just another breach report. We're talking fundamental shifts in architecture, really big systemic challenges, and where the immediate fires are burning hottest.
Yeah, it's a critical moment. I mean, just look at the sheer scale. The cloud market's heading towards what, over $2.2 trillion soon? When things grow that fast, the places attackers can hit just explode. We're seeing attacks like every 39 seconds. So, yeah, we need to cover the daily risks, sure, but also the big strategic stuff, reshaping everything, zero trust, post-quantum cryptography, and the skills crisis everyone's talking about.
Okay, let's jump right into that.
Yeah.
Because the data is pretty stark on where attackers are focusing.
Right.
If our digital world is this, sprawling city, where's the unlocked door? What's the weakest point right now?
It's identity. Simple as that. The immediate battle, the place attackers are winning most easily, it's compromised credentials. You look at something like the Microsoft Digital Defense Report, it's eye-opening. Over 600 million identity attacks every single day. Attackers figured out it's just easier to log in with stolen details than to, hack their way in. They buy them cheap online.
Huh. 600 billion a day.
Yeah.
That number is just hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah.
And it makes the solution seem almost obvious, doesn't it? We have to make the password basically worthless.
Exactly. Precisely. And that boils down to two key things. First, multi-factor authentication, MFA, everywhere. And second, really pushing hard towards passwordless options, things like passkeys, biometrics. And we know this stuff works. The data shows organizations using basic security defaults like Microsoft Entra ID's features see like 80% fewer compromises. MFA just stops most of those opportunistic password attacks cold.
Right, but here's where it gets tricky, because the attackers aren't stupid. They adapt.
Yeah.
If MFA is blocking the front door for 80% of these attacks, how are the really determined ones getting past it? What's the next move in stealing credentials?
Yeah, so they shift tactics. Instead of going for the password itself, they aim to steal the token. The thing that proves you've already logged in successfully. This is token theft. And it's often done using something called adversary in the middle phishing, or ATM.
Okay, ATM. How is that different from the, the usual fake login page phishing emails we all get?
Well, traditional phishing just wants your password on a fake site.
Yeah.
ATM is quite a bit smarter. The attacker sets up a sort of proxy, sits between you and the real website. So when you log in, you're actually going through them. They pass your request to the real site. The real site sends back the session token, that proof you logged in, maybe including the MFA check, and bam, the attacker grabs that token on its way back to you. They don't need your password anymore. They use that stolen session key, bypass MFA completely, and just act as you.
Wow. That's a nasty evolution. And it really highlights that user education alone isn't the whole answer. The underlying security architecture has to be stronger. We should probably touch on the main ways they get people to click in the first place, the social engineering side.
Oh, absolutely. Broadly, phishing accounts for, around 36% of data breaches? But there's a related threat, business email compromise, or BEC, which is actually even higher, maybe 39%. And it's important you understand the difference. Phishing is often a wide net, get credentials from anyone. BEC is super targeted. They go after executives, finance people, anyone with authority. They impersonate them to, trick someone into sending money or giving up high-level access. Very focused, very dangerous.
So that covers the human weak points.
Yeah.
But what about structural issues? The sources kept pointing to insecure APIs and basic misconfigurations. I saw that 29% of web attacks in 2023 targeted APIs. That feels like we've left a lot of backdoors unlocked between our cloud apps.
That's a great point. APIs are the connectors, right? And often the vulnerability isn't even a deep flaw in the API code itself. It's how it was set up. Human error. Misconfigurations are huge. Like 99% of cloud security errors stem from them, making up maybe 68% of overall cloud security issues. Just one wrong setting, a storage bucket accidentally left public, or permissions set way too broadly, and suddenly your data's exposed.
Okay, and before we shift to solutions, maybe just a quick mention of the other background noise threats. Things disrupting services.
Sure, you've got your DDoS attacks, distributed denial of service aimed at just knocking services offline. Then there are insider threats, could be malicious employees, could just be careless ones, but they already have access, which is tricky. Shadow IT is another one, people using unapproved apps or services, creating blind spots for the security team. And of course, the sophisticated stuff. APTs, advanced persistent threats. These are the stealthy groups, often state-sponsored, using long-term tactics, maybe deploying ransomware or using zero-day exploits nobody knows about yet. It's a very busy landscape.
It really is.
Yeah.
And hearing all that laid out, it becomes crystal clear why the old way of thinking about security just doesn't cut it anymore.
Exact. That whole castle and moat idea, secure the perimeter, trust everything inside, it's just fundamentally broken in today's distributed world.
Which brings us to the necessary replacement philosophy, Zero Trust Architecture, or ZTA.
Right. Zero trust isn't a specific product, it's a philosophy, an operational approach. It basically says never trust, always verify, continuously. Forget the idea of a trusted network. It's more like a security checkpoint before every single action anyone or anything tries to take.
Okay, so beyond just listing the principles, how does adopting Zero Trust actually change how a security team operates day to day? What's the mindset shift?
Oh, it changes everything. Fundamentally, first, instead of one check at the door, you verify explicitly every time. You use all the signals you can get. Who is the user? Where are they? Is their device healthy? Is this typical behavior? To constantly re-authenticate. Second, you enforce least privilege access. If someone needs admin rights for just 5 minutes to do a task, they get it for only 5 minutes. Then it's gone. This is huge because even if an attacker does steal credentials or a token, like with that ATM we talked about, their ability to move around inside your network to jump from system to system, it's drastically limited. And third, the big one, assume breach. You design your whole system with the assumption that attackers will get in somewhere, somehow. So your focus shifts from just prevention to rapid containment. How do we limit the damage? How do we stop lateral movement instantly?
And this isn't just theory anymore. There's real data on the impact. This seems like a key
Yeah.
aha
Yeah.
moment for anyone listening. Zero Trust has a measurable, significant return on investment.
It absolutely does. The numbers are compelling. Organizations that have really deployed security automation and zero trust principles save, on average, $1.76 million per data breach compared to those lagging behind. And maybe even more importantly, they contain breaches 74 days faster. Think about that. 74 days. That's often the difference between a manageable incident and a full-blown crisis that tanks the company.
Is that speed mainly from the tech automatically blocking things, or does it also force better processes on the human side?
It's definitely both. The technology, like least privilege, automatically limits the blast radius right away. An attacker gets in, but they can't easily go anywhere else. But it also drives operational discipline. When your whole mindset is assume breach, your incident response plans are already focused on containment and segmentation, not just figuring out if you've been breached. You've prepped for it. So investigation and cleanup are just way faster.
And underpinning all of ZTA is identity and access management, IAM. We're seeing the IAM market exploding, right?
Yeah.
Expected to hit over $24 billion by the end of 2025.
Yeah, that growth directly mirrors the challenges we've discussed. Remote work everywhere, complex multi-cloud setups, plus strict rules like GDPR and CCPA demanding better identity controls. It all drives IAM investment.
So what's next for IAM? How does it get even smarter to support Zero Trust?
Well, AI and machine learning are getting baked in. Think real-time analysis of access patterns. Like if you suddenly log in from a weird location at 3 a.m. and try to access sensitive data you never touch, the AI should flag that as anomalous, maybe block it, maybe trigger an MFA challenge automatically. We're also seeing that continued push towards fully passwordless biometrics, security keys, and then there's decentralized identity, DID, often using blockchain concepts. The idea here is giving users more control over their own identity data, reducing reliance on these huge centralized identity providers that become massive targets themselves.
Okay, let's pivot now to the really big systemic challenges. We've covered the immediate fight, the architectural response. Now let's talk people and the deep future infrastructure. First up, the skills gap. That number, 3.5 million unfilled cybersecurity jobs globally predicted for 2025. That's genuinely alarming.
It is. It puts unbelievable strain on existing teams, and frankly, it means risks just aren't being managed properly in many places. It's not just about hiring dedicated security analysts anymore either. The realization is dawning that security needs to be embedded everywhere. That's why you see the big tech companies launching these huge training initiatives, Microsoft aiming for 250,000 people, Google 100,000, IBM 150,000. They know the talent pipeline is critical for everyone.
We're really heading towards a reality where, every IT role is also a cybersecurity role. And if you're short-staffed, you absolutely cannot afford to treat security as an afterthought, something bolted on at the end, which leads directly to DevSecOps, right? The whole shift left idea.
Exactly. Shift left is about embedding security right into the development lifecycle from the very beginning. So instead of developers writing code, tossing it over the wall, and hoping it passes a security review or gets an authorization, to operate an ATO late in the game. Security becomes part of the design, part of the coding standards, part of the automated testing pipeline. Continuous integration, continuous delivery, and continuous security. It automates the basic checks, freeing up those scarce security experts to focus on the really complex risks, not chasing down simple vulnerabilities just before launch.
Okay, which sets the stage for the ultimate long-term challenge, one that demands action now, even though the main threat is still years away, the post-quantum cryptography transition.
Um,
PQC, we don't have quantum computers capable of breaking today's encryption yet, but why the urgency? Why start panicking now?
because of a concept called harvest now, decrypt later. It's pretty chilling when you think about it. Adversaries, especially nation states, can collect and store massive amounts of encrypted data today. Data protected by current algorithms like RSA or ECDSA, they just hoard it. Then, whenever they do get a powerful enough quantum computer, maybe in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, they can go back and decrypt all that data they harvested earlier. So, if you handle any data that needs to stay secret for a long time, sensitive IP, government secrets, long term health records, that data is potentially vulnerable right now to future decryption.
And history tells us these massive cryptographic transitions take a really long time. We can't just flip a switch.
Not at all. Past transitions have taken, 10, sometimes 20 years. You have to update hardware, software, protocols, everything everywhere. It's incredibly complex. That's why there are hard deadlines emerging. The US government, for instance, under NSM 10 has set 2035 as the target for migrating federal systems to PQC standards.
And NIST, the standards body, has been working on selecting these new quantum-resistant algorithms, things like ML-Chem.
Wow.
Can you briefly explain why these are considered quantum safe?
Sure. So the current public key crypto, like RSA, relies on math problems that are hard for classical computers, but theoretically easy for quantum computers specifically, factoring large numbers. The new standards NIST picked, like ML-Chem, which stands for Module Lattice-Based Key Encapsulation Mechanism, bit of a mouthful. They rely on different kinds of hard math problems, often problems based on something called lattices, which are complex geometric structures. These lattice problems are believed to be incredibly difficult for both classical and quantum computers to solve efficiently. So, moving to algorithms based on them gives us confidence they'll resist quantum attacks in the future.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize this. If you had to boil down the absolute critical takeaways from our deep dive today, what would they be?
I'd say three main things. First, get your identity house in order now. MFA, passwordless. These are the immediate defenses against that daily flood of attacks. It's fundamental. Second, embrace architectural change like zero trust. It's not just a buzzword. The data shows it provides massive, tangible ROI in preventing damage and speeding up recovery. It saves money and time. And third, don't ignore the long-term threats like PQC. If your data needs to be secure for years to come, the harvest now, decrypt later risk means you need to start planning that transition today. Waiting until 2030 is too late.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. We know the PQC transition needs to happen by 2035 to protect long-term data. We know zero trust saves potentially millions per breach right now. Which critical immediate security project in your organization is currently stuck or maybe moving too slowly because of that 3.5 million person global skills gap we talked about? Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today.